What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Chris, man. We are here at the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. It is Wednesday, July 17th, 2024. My name is Chris Drummond. I am a freelance sports reporter based out of Minnesota here, but I'm also a casino host and proprietor of this podcast, Work Hard, Play Harder, where I bring individuals on to talk about their why into their occupation and get to know them a little bit outside of their job. I've got a special guest that's coming on with me today. Her name is Christina Edwards. She hails from A-Town in Atlanta, Georgia, where she's a meteorologist at 95.5 radio station. She's also been a meteorologist at Huntsville, Alabama, and she's also returning back home to Atlanta, Georgia, where she worked before for the Weather Channel as well. She went to Georgia Tech. I should say Georgia Tech Institute of Georgia Tech. I should say that. Very familiar, obviously, with the Georgia area as I graduated from Kennesaw State University. So, go break bread with her and get to know her a little bit. So, without any further ado, I introduce to you the wonderful, talented, beautiful Christina Edwards. Good afternoon, Christina. How you doing?
Good. How are you? Can you hear me okay?
Absolutely, I hear you. I hear you just fine.
Okay.
Welcome to my podcast, Work Hard, Play Harder. I really do appreciate it. How are you doing this week?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good. I
Excellent.
have to say, you look absolutely lovely today. Just want to start
Thank
off
you.
by saying that. You're very welcome. Very welcome. I want to reiterate to you why I wanted to have you on here before I start peppering you with all these questions. I know you're a meteorologist out there in Atlanta, Georgia for 95.5. I know you're returning back to Atlanta because you worked there previously before. I know you also
Yes.
worked in Huntsville, Alabama as well. I'm a reporter as well. Obviously, you do weather, I do sports, but we both work into journalism industry and we report on things. So it's likewise. I like talking to likewise people because everybody has a story to tell.
hmm
And I want to hear your story for sure. I also graduated college from Atlanta, Georgia, at Kennesaw State University,
hmm
as well as you did with Georgia Tech. So I thought it was just a no-brainer for me to
hmm
obviously talk to you and reach out to you and get to know you a little bit.
Sure. Absolutely.
So, with that being said, I always ask this first question, Christina, and it's pretty much what is your why, right? What is your
Yeah.
why of why you do what you do? Were there any role models growing up, any inspirations that you might have had? But let me know, why did you go into the world of weather journalism?
Well, when I was about 5 years old, I was growing up in Florida at the time. I'm actually born in Gainesville, Florida, and then my family moved back to Atlanta when I was about 5 years old. So my family met in Atlanta. The job took them out to the Gainesville, Florida area. Got born there and then came back to Atlanta. So I kind of like to say that I'm a naturalized Atlantan in the sense that the family was already here. It's just that when it was time for the delivery date, it was time to go to Florida. But anywho's, I was in I want to say it was Gainesville, Florida, but we were in Gainesville and I was about 5 years old and a big bolt of lightning came out of the sky. And at that moment, I'm only five. And at that moment, I was like, I got to figure out what caused that so I can warn people. So it's been
Okay.
innate ever since. That's one of my earliest memories as a kid. So it's really been since the beginning. I've just wanted to be a person who studied weather, a scientist who studied weather. And then I wanted to be a communicator so that I could explain to people what caused that. Is it dangerous? Yes. Why? This is because, and this is how you go to safety and so forth.
I love it. I do. Wow, 5 years old. Okay. I mean, listen, some people just know from jump this is what they want to do. And obviously, you're very good at it. There's no question about what you do. So you went to Georgia Tech. I
Yes,
want
it
to
was really
know.
hard. It was a lot of fun, but it was really hard.
I'm sure. I'm sure. I want to know, were there any other schools that could have persuaded you from going to Georgia Tech?
Likely no. I was aware of Penn State, OU, FSU. At the time, I don't think University of Alabama, Huntsville, I don't think they had an atmospheric science program. I think they were just focused on space.
Mhm.
Whereas now my answer would be love Georgia Tech, but it would be a tie between Georgia Tech and UAH. But at the time in high school, so I was in high school in the late 90s to the early 2000s, it was Georgia Tech or nothing for me.
Okay, I like that. I do. Let me ask you some fun questions, right? I want to get to know you. These are some icebreaker questions here. So you just tell me what the 411 is off the rip, and here we go. Okay.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Favorite meal you like to cook?
Oh, gosh. So lately I've been learning how to make ratatouille, like from the movie Ratatouille, because Remy is one of my favorite and my husband's favorite characters. So it takes a lot to make ratatouille because I don't have a mandolin, but I do hand slice the vegetables.
Okay.
I roast the red pepper over the stove. I make my own tomato sauce. So it is a labor of love, but when you do that meal right, it really tastes great. It's a reason why Anton Ego kind of has a flashback to his childhood.
Sure.
Other food I like to make, a simple chocolate chip cookie. It's from Toll House, but when you hand mix it, everything is hand mixed in the right
Mm.
order.
Okay.
There's nothing better than just a homemade chocolate chip cookie.
Okay. I'm gonna keep that in mind. I like that. Ratatouille. Okay. I haven't
Mhm.
seen that movie in so long, but it's definitely a classic. No
Oh,
question.
it's so good. It's to the point now where I'm listening to the soundtrack because I'm training for a half marathon. And so what I'll do is I'll listen to different songs just to kind of keep my brain engaged. And it turns out that soundtrack has some great songs for running my training miles, if you will.
I love it. Okay. Favorite concert you've ever attended?
Okay. Recently it was Lady Gaga in
Oh,
2022. She brings a
okay.
show. She brings a show. It's
Hmm.
3 hours. Now, there will be miniature intermissions where they're changing out the set pieces. Of course, she's doing major wardrobe changes because she's an artist, both visually and then of course musically.
Sure.
But it's a 3 hour total show, and she brings it the entire time. She's singing, she's dancing, she's getting into the audience. She has her piano in the audience, so it's a 360 kind of experience.
Hmm.
But I'm actually growing up, I was a punk rock kid. So I've been to at least six, if not eight Green Day concerts. So those are usually my
Okay.
favorite.
Well, yeah, Boulevard of Broken Dreams is one of
Hmm.
my favorite. No question about it.
Yeah,
I like that. That's pretty cool. Favorite place you've ever traveled to?
that's a tough one. Um, when I was a kid, we went to Yellowstone. So I got to see Old Faithful, the geyser.
Hmm.
Um, Always, it doesn't matter which beach it is, whether it's Gulf Coast or Atlantic, the beach is always great. But Dolphin Island is a barrier island off the coast of Alabama, and it was originally settled by the Spanish as well as the French, so it's actually got some French names in there.
Okay.
um and then who doesn't love Disney World, you know? I could
That's
spend
true
all
too.
Oh, that reminds me. Okay, so I could spend 3 hours in the Germany pavilion of Epcot at Disney World, but I've been to Germany and that was one of my favorite places. I've been to
Right.
Schloss Neuschwanstein, which is that castle that the Cinderella castle is based off of.
Mhm.
It's a big half-mile hill up to the top. Um, and I got to the very top, and then my trip advisor said, "All right, that's enough time for today. Time to turn around and go down
Wow.
the hill." But the
Okay.
reason why I was so late getting to the castle is because I found a cafe with authentic Black Forest
Oh, you
cake,
stopped.
and I
Okay.
stopped
Okay.
for the authentic
Okay.
cake. So,
Okay. That sounds good. I've never been to be transparent, I've never been to Disney World.
hmm
I've been to Disneyland, but I haven't been to
yes.
Disney World.
And
But
I've
yes.
been to Disney World so many times. I've never been to the land, the original theme park. So,
Oh man.
it's one
So
of these days I got to do it.
bucket list for both of us. No question
Hmm.
about it. Okay, here we go. This is a two-parter. Favorite sport you like to watch on TV? Favorite sport you like to attend in person?
Favorite sport to watch on TV is football, because you see the strategy of the two lines lining up and you're like, oh, O-line saw something that the defensive line saw. So you can
Okay.
see the game change in real time. And I feel like you can see that better on the TV than you can live in the stadium. And I've been to so many football games because I was in the marching band. I was in the Georgia Tech marching band, went to every
Oh,
home
okay.
game, went to a lot of away games. Um, and so was able to travel with the tech band. But there are things that I can't spot on the field that I can spot on TV. So I prefer to watch football on TV. Live would be baseball. And fun fact, I was growing up here in Atlanta when the Atlanta Braves won the World Series. I was at that game. My dad and I, we were on the third baseline, but we were up not quite mezzanine level, but just above the mezzanine level. This was Fulton County Stadium back then. So after we clinched the game, clinched the World Series, we just stayed there for another 2 hours, and we made our way down to dugout level. They didn't let fans on the field. They didn't let fans in the dugout, but we were all celebrating in the stadium for another 2 hours after the game finished.
Absolutely. I was definitely pretty young when that happened, for sure, in 95.
Yeah.
No question, but that's pretty cool. That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Last of the favorites. Favorite restaurant you like to attend. Now, me being in Atlanta, Georgia for as many years as I have been, I know some good foods there. So I know some good restaurants. Talk to me.
Yeah. We may need to trade notes here because it's a chain, but my favorite is Maggiano's.
Oh, yeah.
Just so much good food there. I know it's a chain. I know people could say you could get better Italian somewhere else. But it's both fancy, but yet you can be comfortable at the same time. So Maggiano's is my favorite here. I'm trying to think. Flying Biscuit is now a chain, but it was
the
original
cafe
here.
you're talking about. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so my favorite Flying Biscuit would have to be one of the originals in Midtown on 10th and Piedmont. But
Jay Christopher's was one of mine. I like Jay Christopher.
Mm-hmm, Jay Christopher's. And then First Watch. First Watch was started in Tampa, I want to say.
It did.
I may be
know about the
incorrect on that.
Kennesaw one for sure. The Kennesaw one. Yes.
First Watch is so good. The key with First Watch, though, is you got to get there 30 minutes after opening.
Right.
The first 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, you're going to have a wait, and your wait staff is going to be a little stressed. But the first 30 minutes is magic after opening.
Absolutely. I normally, I've tried their Belgian waffle there. I've tried their oatmeal there. Their oatmeal is really good. Those restaurants, Maggiano's. I typically like to go to the Cumberland one.
Yes,
better than the one in Dunwoody.
That's my Maggiano's, yeah.
Okay, got you. I'm with you on that. Okay, that's awesome. Yeah. Let's talk about your day-to-day. Right? Sure. Your day-to-day is different every single day because weather changes every single day.
Exactly.
It's not a normal 9 to 5, 8 to 4 type of job.
No, so and it could be a super long day. The alarm clock goes off at 3, and sometimes I bounce out of bed. Other times I hit snooze until 3:40. 3:40 a.m. is my get up or else you're going to be late. Let's go, So I'm usually out the door by 4 a.m. So 3 o'clock if I need to do hair, makeup, because I'm going to do an appearance. 3:40 if I just need to do bun hair, don't care, in a sweatshirt. But I'm out of the house by 4 o'clock in the morning, and we're live on the air by 5 o'clock in the morning. The commute is about 30 minutes, and I like to give myself a little bit of time to let's refresh the maps, because I'm studying the maps every day, all day. But sometimes I need to see what has changed since when I last looked at it 12 hours ago. So I'll give myself a refresher before we go on the air. But quite frankly, as I'm studying the trends all week long, I know what the talking point is going to be. So Monday, I knew the talking point was heat and a few pop-up storms. Now that we're at Wednesday, now I know, okay, tomorrow the cold front will be here and we'll have scattered storms for the rest of the weekend. It's just fine-tuning the details in between. So we're live on the air from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. 9 to 10 is kind of basically, let me touch base with my executive producer. Let me touch base with my news director. Let me touch base with my colleagues. 10 to 11 could be a little bit more administrative work, but by then I'm usually leaving the studio and I catch up with my husband. He also works in media, and he also has interesting media related hours. So all that to say, he and I will catch up with each other, have lunch about 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning. He's in bed by anywhere from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. He's in bed because he works the overnight. I'm in bed by 6 p.m. in the winter, about 8:30 in the summer, just because it's so bright for so long. I have trouble falling asleep. But during that time, I also do the evening weather. So I provide the evening forecast. So that means look at the map again. Is my forecast still good? Do I need to make any adjustments? So give the forecast for the evening, give live updates if we have severe weather, or during hurricane season, I may have to do live updates for that as well. So sometimes I might take a 1 hour nap, but a lot of times I'm up and at 'em from 3:40 in the morning all the way until 8:30 at night.
Wow, that's a
Mm-hmm.
long time. No question
A
about
long
that.
day.
I love asking meteorologists this question. Which like storm or like which kind of like traffic thing that you would like to do? Would you like to do a
Yeah.
hurricane, a tornado, snowfall, rain pour? Like, would you like to be in the middle of that? Like any of those?
So that's a great question. And so I mentioned that I was in the Georgia Tech marching band. I was in the I'm still, once you're a brother, you're always a brother, but I'm a brother Kappa Psi, the marching band fraternity. And
Okay.
so when I was a candidate, I used to ask all of the fraternity brothers, what's your favorite weather phenomenon? And my favorite weather phenomenon is just a good old thunderstorm, not too severe, not
Okay.
too damaging, but
Mhm.
plenty of lightning far away off in the distance so that you can safely watch it. Plenty of thunder so that you get some drama, and a good soaking rain. So I love a good thunderstorm where it's not too damaging, but has enough entertainment to it. Severe weather, believe it or not, is my favorite to study because there's so many things involved with severe weather forecasting. Do we have enough what's called instability, which is rising air? Do we have enough wind shear, which is a change of wind direction in height and in speed?
Okay.
Tornadoes need lift, they need that instability, and they need that wind shear to form. Not enough of one or the other means you don't get a tornado, but just enough of one or the other means you do get a tornado. So why this one, but not that one? Watching the storms develop before they become tornadic, looking for the signs for them to do the thing. So severe weather in general is my favorite to study. I will say my least favorite are winter storms, and I'll go on the record of saying this. I really don't like snow. Really don't like snow. I was a kid when the blizzard of 93 happened here in Atlanta.
Sure.
I
Sure.
was living in Alpharetta at the time. Loved that because I was a kid with no responsibilities. But as an adult, even as not a meteorologist, if you were to take away the meteorology from it all, as an adult with the am I going to safely get to work? Am I going to have to worry about traffic? Is it
Yeah.
going to be icy and sludgy and just is it going to be a problem? Is it going to be unsafe driving? That's always in the back of my mind. And then as a meteorologist, I have the additional layer of stress of, is my forecast going to be correct? And then also, just because my forecast is correct doesn't mean somebody perceived it to be correct.
Right.
I could say Atlanta gets 3 to 5 inches of snow, and somebody goes, I only got 3 inches of snow, and you said it was going to be 5. And I said 3 to 5. You're in the 3. You said
Right.
5. And so therefore,
Right.
I said, fine,
Right.
I'm wrong. Fine. You
Right.
know,
Right.
so
I
I
totally understand that.
don't like winter weather. Absolutely.
Okay. No, I totally dig that. I mean, I remember one of the last, I mean, it was many moons ago, but I
Mhm.
remember trapped into the house and like cars were stuck on the road in Atlanta. Like we only
Yeah.
got like a couple of inches and there was like cars on the freeway and
Yeah.
stores was empty. It was in the like the 2000s and I think it was like either 12 or 11 or
hmm
I might be
You're
wrong with the year,
you're thinking
but
Snow Jam 2014.
yep. And I
Snow
was
Jam
there.
2014. And we had one before that. We had January 2011. It's just that a lot of schools were out. They hadn't come back into school yet,
Hmm.
or the winter break was about to come undone, and people go back to school, and then it was like, no, the forecast calls for snow, so how about y'all just stay on break? But that was like January 9th through 11th, if my memory serves me right. But there's 2011, to the point where Governor Deal's first inauguration, the governor of Georgia, Governor Deal, his first inauguration was delayed by snow that was then followed up with freezing rain. So that freezing rain locked the snow in. And
So did.
so that was his
Yeah.
first inauguration. And then to have it happen again in 2014, it was kind of ironic if you think.
It was crazy. No question. No
hmm
question. I love asking this next question because it's about mental health and work-life balance,
Yeah.
right? As journalists, a lot of times we work, like I said, kind of crazy hours, crazy days. I'm sports, I'm nights and weekends. Your weather, early mornings, but you have long days. You also have a
Yeah.
husband in the industry as well that kind of makes it easier, but also can make it difficult at times as
Yeah.
well. Talk to
It's
me.
a it's a blessing. It's a double-edged sword. It's a blessing, but also it's really, really tough.
Absolutely. Talk to me about your work-life balance of trying to see friends, family, husband, but also talk about your mental health and how
Yeah.
sometimes that can wear on you as well.
It's my answer is going to be different from other people's answers here in the broadcast industry because depending on your schedule, you're going to have it either easier or harder. In Huntsville, I was first weekend morning and then I became weekend evening. But quite frankly, the weekend meteorologist, it doesn't matter if you're AM or PM, but if you're a weekend meteorologist, you're filling in all the time. And so your schedule's flip flopping all over the place. And that
Right?
was the hardest to deal with because I've learned. First of all, I'm a night owl, so it's already hard enough that I'm doing a morning show. But if I can stay on a consistent schedule, then I know when I'm going to eat, when am I going to work out, when am I going to fall asleep, and I can plan
Okay.
accordingly. My circadian rhythm never recovered when I was flip flopping all over the place. So it got to the
Mm.
point where, and it also got to the point in my career where I was doing weekend mornings on Saturday and Sunday, then what was it, 2 to 11 on Monday and Tuesday, and then like a 9 to 5 on Wednesday. Like I could not recover to save my life. So I
That's a hell
learned
of a
that
schedule right there. That's a hell
it,
of a
it
schedule.
it's a hell of a schedule. And then there were times where somebody was on vacation or somebody was sick. So I think the longest I've worked was a 21-day stretch. Again, this was in Huntsville. Even here in Atlanta, where I'll work weekends if we have a winter storm coming in or severe weather coming in. Now, thankfully, here being on the radio, I have the flexibility of if I want to work from home, I can. I prefer to be in the studio, but like a Saturday, Sunday, it's like, no, 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 just let me stay home. I'll still cover it, but let me stay home. We'll do the back end to get me live. But in TV, you were broadcasting from TV. Even during COVID, we never
Yep.
had our meteorologist broadcasting from home. We were like, the studio was big enough, you're social distancing enough. So we still came in during COVID. So
Sure.
what was hard about that is that I would be on the schedule for 3 weeks straight. And there was one year where I'll never forget, it was the Christmas flood of 2012, where your weekend morning and now come in for weekday night. And then now you're going to cover the midday and then go back to weekend morning. And then now you're covering night to the point where I flip flop for 3 straight weeks where I was like, I was starting to lose it. I was just starting to cry looking at a cloud.
Mm.
And so that's when I realized I was like, I can work 3 weeks straight, but I have to be on the same side of the clock. So
Right.
if I'm filling on morning, then whoever is the weekend morning, I'll fill in for you. I'll fill in for you if you'll take care of my PM shift. And that allowed them to sleep in a little bit. So I was like, just keep me on. If I'm AM, keep me on AM. If I'm PM, keep me on PM. But the back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. I could not sleep. I could not work out. And working out is not just for physical. I work out for mental reasons.
Sure.
Um, I run and I swim for mental reasons. So if I can't work out, then I'm not just physically unhealthy, then I'm mentally unhealthy. So those were some rough years. And that's what I learned, that I have to take care of me first in order to do my job properly.
Absolutely. No question about it. You seem like an amazing person to be around, by the way. I just want to throw that out there for
Thank you.
sure.
It took me time. It took me time to finally figure out what does equilibrium look like and what does it take to maintain equilibrium? Because I'll be honest with you, there were times where I told my husband, I was like, today is a thunderstorm day. I don't feel good. I feel like a thunderstorm. And
Sure.
so we figured out ways to kind of make sure that I was doing okay. And part of it was try and find a job that was not weekends. It was either Monday through Friday in the morning or Monday through Friday in the evening, but the flip flop had to stop.
Sure. Trying to get some consistency. It's very
Hmm.
hard to do that when you first start out, as you
Yeah.
just advocated with, but it's also good to talk about it because a lot of new graduates or people that's getting into this industry, they don't know about those things, right? They
Well, and
don't
they
know
don't know
about the
how to,
book.
yeah, and they don't know how to advocate. So first of all, they don't know that this is going to happen. The contract's going to say all duties as assigned. So that
Mhm.
means any shift as assigned. And they technically the station has the right to yank you around like that and put you in the schedule blender.
Sure.
But
Absolutely.
you also have the right to advocate for yourself and go, if you want my best work, you're going to have to meet me halfway. I am happy to work 3 weeks in a row. That's 21 days straight. But in order for me to work 21 days straight, please only put me on one side of the clock? So,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah.
Now, the bounce off question is now, what kind of advice would you give either an intern, a new graduate, or maybe somebody that's in their 30s? Like I'm in my 30s.
Mhm.
and they want to just join this industry. What kind of advice would you give someone if they said, "Hey, Christina, I want to do what you do"?
Okay. Study the industry, study the trends,
Hmm.
and also study what is the definition of broadcasting, because to me television is something that you're seeing from far away, and that could be on a traditional TV screen or it could be on a cell phone.
Sure.
So if you want to go into broadcasting, what does that mean? Does that mean you're a streamer? Does that mean your traditional television, your traditional radio? Does that mean your YouTube? Does that mean you are a Disney Plus kind of thing? You know, that kind of thing, a YouTube subscription only model. Pay attention to how the broadcast industry is evolving right now and where people are getting their information, but also how the business is flowing
Yep.
with the different broadcasters that we have. So quite frankly, cable was brand new in the late 70s, early 90s. The Weather Channel came online in 1982 as a cable only service.
Right.
Um, but now the Weather Channel has their own streamer, but it took them some time to get that streamer going.
Mhm.
Whereas people were already watching YouTube, people were already getting a lot of their live information from YouTube. And now, as it turns out, TikTok has more watch minutes and more eyeballs than YouTube itself. So things are always changing, things are always evolving, but that also includes where are the eyeballs going? And unfortunately, this is a business. We all need a paycheck. Where is the money going? So
Cool.
if you want to go in traditional broadcast media, keep an eye on Sinclair. What is Sinclair doing? Keep an eye on Scripps. What is Scripps doing? Keep an eye on what Grams or Apollo or Allen Media. Keep an eye on what they're doing versus perhaps maybe what a digital streamer or YouTube or even a TikToker is doing. So
I
just
like
keep an
that.
eye
I
on
do.
that. Because what we
I
know,
do.
what we know now may or may not be in existence 10 years from now. Case in point, I mentioned the Weather Channel. They were originally a cable subscriber.
Mhm.
Who has cable now? I don't have cable, but I also subscribe to like 10 different streamers. So
Right.
kind
Right.
of feels like cable 2.0, but the distribution is different.
Sure, and it's going to be different in the next 5 years, 10 years,
Hmm.
15, as you know, and that's great advice. People should be up on these different companies, the wave that you're going to go. I always tell people, hey, try everything. If you want to try to be in this industry, you find out things that you like, you find out things that you don't like.
Right.
That's what you need to do to be able to be
Hmm.
successful and go in the area that you want to go in. But like you said, you do weather, and that's a genre that you do. But there's news, there's entertainment, there's broadcast, there's print, there's all different kind of avenues that you can go through. But it's just great to be able to hear somebody in the industry talk about things like that, because you don't get people to break it down like that. You get people
Right.
telling the basic stuff. Well, you got to go to a small market. Well, you
Hmm.
got to work your way up the food chain, but they don't tell you that there's all different kind of things that you can really do within that
Yeah.
market.
And they're also not telling you that, TikTok has disrupted the traditional media
Sure.
industry, if you will,
Yep.
where so many people aren't going to the small market anymore. So many people are now graduating from college and going not just the top 50, but they're going to a top 25 because for one reason or another, the older talent has decided, no, I'm leaving and I'm going into a different direction.
Yep.
And in order to fill up that talent pool, now the stations are going to college age students, younger and younger and younger, for a higher and higher market. So it really is an interesting world that we're living in when it comes to traditional broadcast media groups. I do believe that TikTok is one of the disruptors. There's a term called a black swan. Have you heard of the term black swan before?
I've heard of it, but I haven't really went into depth about finding out what that actually means.
A black swan is an unknown event that completely changes everything.
Oh,
Whether
okay.
you're in the middle of you're in a contract discussion and you don't know that there's about to be a media merger, a company merger. And so you don't know that there may be layoffs going on in the old company in order to merge in the new one. So as you're doing a contract discussion, you may not realize that you may actually need to be talking to two different stations because that one may no longer be.
Right.
We've seen that with Sinclair owned stations, like for instance, Tulsa 8 now has their broadcast done from Oklahoma City. So the majority of the employees from the Tulsa 8 station were laid off. So that's something to keep an eye on. What's the Black Swan event that changes everything and you had no idea that it was coming? Keep an eye out for those Black Swan events.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. I appreciate that, Christina. We've came to the portion of this show now where we're going to do this or that.
Okay.
So basically what this is I'm throwing two things at you or throwing multiple things at you and you get to choose either this or that. Are you with me?
Okay.
All right, here we go. Popeyes or KFC?
Oh, why you gotta ask me that? Popeye's chicken sandwich, but KFC's bucket.
Okay. All right. I'll allow that. I'll allow that. That's the first time. That's the first time. That's the first
Because
time.
I've had the KFC sandwich, and I was like, Popeyes is better. But I've done Popeyes individual pieces. I will not do Popeyes chicken tenders. They don't do it right. The individual pieces are okay, but that chicken sandwich from Popeyes, I have to do my best not to order 4 at a time because it's so good.
Pretty good. It's pretty
so
good. Okay. All right. Now, when it comes to chicken wing flavors, do you like barbecue or lemon pepper?
I like both, but I would gravitate more towards barbecue. 3 out of 4, I would go for the barbecue.
I love it. Do you like your wings wet or dry?
Wet. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And do you like your wings bone in or boneless?
Bone in. Boneless is just a chicken nugget, and chicken nuggets just are not good unless it's like fresh, tender that you chopped up and fried it up. But yeah, usually a bone in. Yeah.
So you like to get a little messy, is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. That's okay. That's okay.
Okay. I'm with you on that. It's damn okay. I love it. Okay, here we go. These next 4 have to do with music concerts. These next 4 questions, music concerts you rather attend. Okay, so here we go. Which concert would you rather go to? Would you rather go see Kendrick Lamar or Drake?
I have to be honest, I haven't heard any of Lamar's stuff, but I've heard enough from Drake where I'm like, you're done. You're done. So I'll have to go with Lamar. I have to go with Lamar.
Okay, I feel it. All right. Which concert would you rather go to? Would you rather go see Morgan Wallen or Luke Combs?
Luke Combs.
Okay. I like that. Which concert would you rather go see? Would you rather go see J. Cole or Lil Wayne?
Oh, probably Lil Wayne. But I'm not too familiar with both artists' material though.
Okay, I understand that. Lil Wayne is good. Cole is good. Both of those are pretty good. Now, this one here is probably going to be a little difficult. Which artist would you rather go see? Casey Musgraves or Carrie Underwood?
That's can they not double headline the concert there? Can the girls, not even one is opening for the other. It's like, hey, welcome to the show. We're trading our songs.
I figured that'd be a difficult one for you. I figured that would be. Okay.
I would go with Underwood only because Casey Musgraves is great, but I feel like Underwood brings a show. Like the girl knows how to work a stage.
I feel it. I feel you on that. Which sport would you rather watch on TV? Basketball or hockey? This one made you think too, huh? Okay.
Because in hockey, the camera's following the puck, whereas in real life, I'm like, where to go? Where to go?
Right.
But it's so entertaining because, as they slam into the glass, sometimes the camera moves away, moves on to the action. And whereas I'm like, no, look, they're fighting it out over there, Yeah, I'll go with hockey live. Yeah.
Okay.
So basketball on TV.
Basketball on TV. Okay. Which sport would you rather play? Would you rather play badminton or bowling?
I used to play tennis, so I think I'd rather do badminton. I'm not good at bowling. I'm not good at it.
Listen, keep it a buck here. I appreciate it. I'm solid at bowling. I'm okay at badminton. I'm not gonna lie. Rather play badminton than tennis because tennis too much running around. I ain't with the racking and the running around. I ain't with that. Although pickleball, I do like pickleball. Pickleball is very good. So
And that's what I heard. I haven't played pickleball yet, but I was like, oh, I play tennis. And a lot of people I know who play tennis also play pickleball. And they're like, I love pickleball. I was like, well, if you play tennis, just play the tennis. And then I understood pickleball is smaller. So there's
it
less,
is.
there's less of the lunging, there's less of the running. And then, but I used to be pretty competitive with tennis, almost to the point where I was on circuit play, meaning that I was almost ranked within USTA. Wasn't quite at that level, but I got to state championships when I was 12, 14. So during that age group, I got up to a high enough level where I was really competitive with it.
And I love hearing that. You know, it's to me, it's not the hitting the ball. The hitting the ball is fine. It's the
It's
serve.
the running all over. It's the running all over the court. Yeah.
Yeah, you know that running the serve is probably the main problem though. I can't return serves very well, so that's my problem. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. Do you like desserts?
I love them. I have a sweet tooth.
Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna name you 4 desserts. You got to choose one of these you'll never eat again. Okay,
Okay.
so here we go. First one is ice cream.
Okay.
Second one is cookies.
Okay.
The third one is cake.
hmm
The last one is candy. Which one are you getting rid of that you'll never eat?
I can say no to candy as long as I have the other 3.
Okay. You and I are alike, Christina. Obviously, hence the name, Christina Christopher. It is what it is. Okay, I like it. I like it. Do you like potato chips?
Not really. Yeah,
Okay.
unless it's sour cream and onion or barbecue, I can leave them. Really can.
Those are my 2 favorites. Those are my 2 favorites. Okay. So here we got 2 more that this or that. And both of these are music concert questions. So here we go. Which concert would you rather go see? Would you rather go see Lady A or Zach Brown Band?
Zach Brown Band.
Okay. Chicken Fried. That's one of my favorite songs. No question. Okay. Last one. This is a hypothetical one. Which concert would you rather see? Would you rather go see Whitney Houston or would you rather go see Janet Jackson?
Again, why you guys do that?
Mm-hmm.
Why you guys do that?
That's around my time right there. That's why I don't know if you know nothing about that. I don't know if you know nothing about that, but that's around my time.
No, because I mean, no. Okay, first of all, Whitney's the queen. She is the queen, the queen.
Okay.
Anybody who got to see her sing live got to sing magic, right there in front of us. But Janet can sing and dance and everything. For vocal prowess, it would have to be Whitney Houston. Who would not go see Whitney Houston? I wish she were still alive. I would see her today. So it's only Whitney Houston because she's a legend, but Janet's a legend in her own right too.
She is, no question about that. It's almost like putting Beyonce versus Taylor Swift, or probably like Christina Aguilera versus Rihanna, like something like that. Right?
Yeah. Now with Beyonce versus Taylor Swift, I'd rather see Beyonce. I'm actually more of a Bey camp than a Swiftie. So with that one, I would say Beyonce.
Yep.
You said Christina Aguilera and Rihanna.
Yeah.
I'd have to. Oh, Riri, she was great during the Super Bowl, and I know she does a great concert. But again, Christina Aguilera has the vocals where it's like, you got to be there. You got to experience that. So I'll give Christina the slight edge over Riri.
Okay, I like that. I do. You did pretty well on this or that. Pretty well. Okay, I got a little bit more rapid fire at the end, but we got a couple more questions before that. This next question, I love asking this next question. If you wasn't a meteorologist or involved in journalism, what career would you have chosen and why?
I wanted to be a musician. I've always wanted to be a meteorologist, but in high school, being a musician really made me start to think, which path do I want to go down? Because I love music, really love music. My first instrument's the flute. My second instrument's the piano. My third instrument is the electric bass. Fourth instrument is tuba. And then my fifth instrument is the string bass. So I've been in a marching band, an orchestra, sit down symphonic band, if you will. I've been in jazz bands. I've been in symphony quartets, if you will, the 4-piece quartets. So I love music, but it got to the point where I realized, would I rather spend 5 to 8 hours practicing a piece or 5 to 8 hours studying some piece of science? And I realized that, well, science was always my first love. So let me go in that path. But I use music as a way to keep my brain engaged when I'm doing the hard science. it's the music that keeps me human as I did some really ridiculous math to get this degree.
Wow. Okay. Now, what song can you play on the instrument? Like, what full song can you play?
Well, I can read music. Um, More bass clef these days because I was playing tuba and string bass for so long that the bass clef overrid the treble clef. But as long as you give me sheet music rather, as long as you give me sheet music, I can play it. Still memorized. I have the fight song memorized on the flute, and then on bass. With bass, it's kind of a walking bass line. So if I know the chords, I know how to walk my way in and out of one chord into another. So
Like it.
I know that didn't quite answer your question, but quite frankly, I'm like, put the notes in front of me, I'll play it.
Okay. Now, I'm a huge Titanic person, so I can play that on piano.
Hmm.
That particular, if there's an instrument I could play, it's piano,
Yeah.
or keyboard or something like that. I'm more of a musical theater kind of guy, so that's what I
Yeah.
love. I love musicals for sure.
What's your favorite musical?
Man, that's hard, but I would probably say Hairspray.
Okay.
Hairspray is probably my favorite, but Brent is there.
Hmm.
Annie is there. Hamilton. I mean, I can go on and on. The Greatest
Yeah.
Showman is my favorite movies.
Yeah.
No question. So I love all those for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm an Andrew Lloyd Webber fan. So when it comes to piano, my piano is rusty, but I memorized a lot of the songs from Cats, and to the point where I memorized the Jellicle Ball because you can't get sheet music for the Jellicle Ball. So I picked it out by ear and then
Right.
just memorized where the hands go. But memory, I can still play memory, and I can still play Mr. Mistopheles to a certain point.
Wow. Yes, Cats is also a good one. I'm sorry. My apologies. Wicked is also
Wicked,
something that I
yeah,
love. I love
yeah.
Wicked. No question about that. So yeah, I'm huge into that for sure. Um, what is some advice that someone has gave you? Now we talked about advice you would give someone, but what is some advice someone gave you that you hold on dearly to?
Oh, because there was a lot of advice along the way, but I would say just be confident. You're here for a reason. You were hired for a reason. They're gonna so a news director is going to hire, a news person, whether it's sports, news, or whether the news director is going to hire you, but it's part of their job to kind of criticize you, and it's going to feel like they're cutting you down. Um, so when the boss is cutting you down, you feel like you've just taken a personal attack, if you will. It's good to remind yourself you were hired for a reason. Stay confident in what you do. Your boss is required to give you criticisms because if they're trying to help you grow, they're trying to help you grow. Or, sometimes at the end of the day, it's their job to make sure that the newscasts look good. So if your wardrobe wasn't correct, your script wasn't correct, or your performance just wasn't correct, it's their job to correct you. But at the end of the day, is reminding yourself with all the criticisms that you receive, it's okay to receive it, but it's also okay to remind yourself you were hired for a reason. Be confident in what you do. Take the critique and use it to make yourself better. It's not supposed to cut you down. It's supposed to make yourself better.
Absolutely. No question about that. I tell a lot of these kids out here, especially these high school kids, because I cover high schools and I cover one college for sports. They ask me questions all the time about journalism. And I tell them, look here, this is a job where you can't look for the most money. You can't look for, oh, well, I'm going to always do everything right, because you're
Hmm.
not.
Yeah.
This is a learning curve consistently. You're always going to be learning in this industry. You're not going to always make the most money, so you got to do it for the love.
Yeah.
I love storytelling. I love telling all kinds of stories, not just
Yeah.
game recaps, but I love writing all kinds of stories and broadcasting all kinds of stories. So I tell my kids, if you're going to do this out of love. But then when
Hmm.
you also do it, understand that you're going to make mistakes and don't take anything too personal,
Yeah,
because it's never too
exactly.
personal. Never too personal. So I love that you just said that, because that
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense for sure.
Yeah. And also know your audience. Who are you talking to?
Sure.
um we're told who for the most part who are our audience when they're watching TV or when they're listening to the radio. It's usually a person of this age group, of this education level, of this economic background. So know who it is that's watching you, because you may have a story or you may have a message that may or may not resonate with them. The last thing you want to do is be condescending. If you're trying to tell a story that's part of that story is trying to change somebody's opinion or change their thought about a process, be gracious and graceful as you tell that story. The last thing somebody wants is somebody on the news kind of lecturing them.
Sure.
So know your audience and know how to gracefully and gratefully talk to your audience.
I love that. I do. I really do. Do you get to go to any Georgia Tech games as an alum?
Sometimes, especially in the fall, when we have a lot of those 7 o'clock games, that's too late. Even though I don't have to be at work the next day, I'm like, you guys don't understand. I face plant into a pillow by 9 o'clock. By the way, if you just heard that noise, that's thunder. We just had a thunderstorm move in, so you may hear some thunder rumbling in the distance. But 7 o'clock kickoff, I'm here at home. I'll watch the first, maybe the second quarter, but by halftime, I'm in bed because I'm tired.
I totally understand that.
But if it's a breakfast tailgate where kickoff is at 12, I'll definitely go. If it's a 3:30, I'll consider it, but may have to leave in the third quarter. Just because, yes, it's not 7 o'clock, but there's that whole getting home situation in Midtown Atlanta traffic is, you're going to add an hour to it. Yeah, you're going to add an hour just to go home. So.
Yes, my mother, my aunt, my uncle, they live in Lawrenceville. So we're definitely looking at going to one of the games with Wags. I think Notre Dame is coming there this year.
Yes, and that'll be at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. We don't know the time for the kickoff just yet.
Okay.
But I was thinking about going to that game, depending on what time kickoff is. If it's I doubt it'd be a 12 for Mercedes-Benz. I doubt it'd be a 12.
Probably at 3:30. It'll probably be at 3:30.
So if it's a 3:30, then I'll probably go park at the station, take Marta, go on down and do my standard. Yeah, I can't stay for the whole thing, but I'm here. You guys have made it, you know?
I feel it. My uncle's a huge Notre Dame fan, so I'm going to surprise him with tickets to the game. So I'm going to take him to the game. I'm actually going to come down there and come down there for at least about a few days and spend some time with my family, but also be able to take him to the game and surprise him because he's huge in the Notre Dame football.
Have you been to the Benz yet? Have you been to a game in the Benz?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'll be going back this particular year. I'm going to go see the Falcons. I typically get down to Atlanta at least about 3 to 5 times.
Gotcha.
5 times. So I'm definitely going to go back there because I'm also still a grad student at Kennesaw State University. I'm getting my master's next spring. So I definitely want to go there. And like I said, if I'm ever in town, I definitely will hit you up. We definitely got to do something. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So 95.5 WSB is in Midtown, so it's easy to get to different places and see different things. So
okay, I'm with you on that. So now, Christina, we're coming up on the end with the last couple of questions. We got some rapid fire here, okay? So the first thing that comes to your mind, you just answer it off the rip, okay? Here we go. Favorite color?
Blue.
Favorite sports movie?
Major League.
That's a good one. Okay. Favorite restaurant out of these 3? Outback Steakhouse, Longhorn Steakhouse, Texas Roadhouse.
Longhorn.
That's my girl. Okay. Now I know we can be friends because Longhorn, that's my favorite. Okay. Yeah. Pancakes or waffles?
Waffles.
Burgers or tacos?
I'm going to go burger. Because I love tacos, but tacos can be messy. Whereas burgers, if you manage it just right, it'll be fine.
Okay. If you had 3 albums to listen to without no skips, what would those albums be?
Daft Punk's Alive.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Now I got to figure out which Green Day album. It's either American Idiot or it's Dookie. Nimrod's great too.
You cannot go wrong with American Idiot. You just can't.
That one was a great album. And I saw they did a concert tour in 04 and 05 and I saw both of them. It was a phenomenal show.
I bet it was. I haven't seen them live, but they're amazing. Amazing. Okay. So you said that one, you said Daft Punk and who else?
Okay. Oh, easy. Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon.
Okay. I like that. If you can go anywhere on an exotic trip and you had 3 people that you can take with you, who would those 3 be?
My husband.
Okay.
And let's see, probably both sisters.
I like it.
I have 2 sisters, so I'd take them both.
Where would you go?
We would go to the beach. Now, which beach? Is it Gulf Shores? Is it Atlantic Coast, or is it out in the middle of the Caribbean? But we would go to the beach.
Gulf Shores being in Alabama, that's a beautiful spot, no question about it. Okay, here we go. 2 more for the rapid fire. If you had to choose between doing one of these live in person, a tropical rainstorm, a snowstorm, or a hurricane where you're on the beach and water's coming, which one would you do?
So you're talking about a tropical downpour, or is it a tropical storm coming in?
Tropical like downpour is raining.
Yeah, so it's just a heavy live out here during a heavy rainstorm. I would do the heavy rainstorm. Hurricanes are like doing a heavy rainstorm, but you add the wind and then you add the marathon component to it. You're going to be doing that for at least 12, if not 24 hours. Whereas the downpour, it's in and out in about, maybe 2 hours tops. So.
Okay. And I know you said you hated snow before. So I can imagine you out there trying to do something with snow.
So in Huntsville, we had a snowstorm approach, and I thought that they were going to make me do live reports out in the snow. So I go to Cabela's and I go straight to the fishing department, and I find there are 2 salesmen talking to each other, and I go, "Hi, excuse me. If you were to go ice fishing in the middle of Minnesota, what ice pants would you wear?" And they're like, "Well, come on over here. These are the exact model of pants I wear when I go ice fishing." I was like, "Sold, I'll take." So I still have those ice pants. I doubt I would use them here in Atlanta, but they are my go-to. If I think I have to be outside in the snow for at least an hour, I'm wearing my ice pants because I know I'm going to be just a warm, squishy marshmallow during the entire time. I can't stand cold weather. I can't stand it.
I damn sure don't want to be ice fishing. When I moved out here to Minnesota, the first thing they told me was, "Hey man, you got to get used to ice fishing." I said, the hell I do. I'm not getting used to no ice fishing. I'm good. I don't want to ice fish, regular fish. All I want to do is eat fish. That's about it.
Exactly.
So I don't want to do nothing else. I'm totally with you on that.
Like I had no idea how long I was going to be out in the elements. I was like, y'all don't understand. If I'm outside in the cold for an hour, I'm going to be miserable and I can't work. So let me go get some ice fishing pants.
I love that. I love it. This last rapid fire question has to do with tennis.
Okay.
Would you rather be playing one-on-one, or would you rather play doubles?
Singles. I'd rather be singles. Doubles is fun, but there's you're working with a partner, and there's kind of like you and your partner need to be in sync. So if you have a partner where you're like, I don't know, can I trust you to get that? Or if they're ball hungry, and so they're going for everything and they hit it right into the net, and you're like, bro, I could have gotten that. So I'd rather be the one responsible for hitting into the net.
You are definitely competitive for sure. I like that. Hold on, are you spades or dominoes?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Are you spades or dominoes? Which game would you rather play?
So you're talking cards, like solitaire?
Something like that. Spades is a cards game. Yes.
Okay, gotcha. I haven't played spades, but I can spend hours playing solitaire. So, and I've not really worked with dominoes, so I'd rather go with my deck of cards.
Yeah, we're gonna have to bring you to the cookout. Like those are.
Oh, am I invited?
Yeah, those are cookout games, Christina. If you have anybody that talks to you about cookout at your station, spades, dominoes, you got to learn how to play one of them. You got to know.
Play one.
They normally call dominoes bones. If you play bones, you good. Or if you play spades, hey, you good. So don't worry about that. I got you. When I come down there, I got you. Say less. Okay. This has been an awesome conversation. Getting to know you and your background. I mean, since 5 years old, you've been wanting to do this, be a meteorologist, which is amazing. And you're doing it in what essentially is your hometown, although you told me you were born or a little bit in Gainesville, Florida, but you essentially was raised there in Atlanta, Georgia. It's been amazing talking to you, and it really has.
Thank you.
My last question for it is Is there anything else you would like to add before we conclude?
I think that's it. I mean, if somebody who's watching wants to be a meteorologist, it's a lot of fun learning about the weather, but be aware that a degree requires a lot of hard math. I mean, the science, personally, I love science, so science wasn't a problem, but math is the language of the science. In order to understand the physics of the storm that's developing, you have to take thermodynamics, which requires a lot of mathematica. And so just be aware that it's not just 1 + 1 = 2. There's a lot of delta V, delta X over delta Y plus 2xy plus the Greek letter delta, things like, or Greek letter rho and plus the Greek letter omega, which omega is vorticity, all that to say there's Greek involved. So just be aware meteorology does take math.
That definitely went over my damn head for sure. No question. Thank you so much, Christina.
You're
And I hope you
welcome.
enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. It was a pleasure.
Likewise. Great talking with you. Have a great afternoon.
You too now. Bye.